Hello and welcome to our first video in a series on the Chameleon 20 by APH. In this first video, we will cover the basics of the Chameleon, including some of its main features, what's in the box, and a basic orientation to the device. The Chameleon is a Braille display that has some additional extra features that many Braille displays do not have. Some of these features include Wi-Fi and the ability to download content from Bookshare and NFB Newsline, an internal notes feature, a basic calculator function, and a file management system. Some of the things that the Chameleon does not have include a scientific calculator, a word processor that allows for spell checking and advanced editing, or an advanced operating system that would allow file sharing wirelessly between devices. Although the Chameleon does not, at this time, have speech output, APH hopes that this feature will be coming out in a future update. Now let's talk about what comes in the box. The box contains the following items: the Chameleon 20 Braille display, of course, a USB-C to USB-A cable. This is the charging cable. What's nice about this is that the USB-C cannot be put into the charging cord area wrong. So it's kind of like your iPhone's lightning cable. It doesn't matter which way it faces up. It will not jam or get stuck, and you won't have problems with ports and students attempting to put the charging cable in the wrong way. A USB to an AC adapter, which is like the wall plug. There are 3 thermoplastic polyurethane bumper cases in pomegranate, purple, and teal. The one I have on my display right now is purple. There's also a nylon carrying case with a lanyard, as well as a sheet of various bug stickers and logos. And the final thing is a print and Braille getting started guide. Now let's proceed to orientation to the unit. Let's start with the top face. As the top face, we're going to come at it from our position, or the bottom, to the top. So the portion of the top face that is closest to you are 2 space bars. They do the exact same thing, there's just 2 of them instead of 1 going across. Above that is our 20-cell Braille display. The display itself is quite quiet and is very easy to use as far as in a classroom, so that students aren't disturbed by a lot of popping and sounds and stuff like that. Above the display are cursor routing keys. These cursor routing keys allow you to edit text, to place your cursor where you want in the line of Braille. They can also function as an OK key or a selection button, depending on the context. Above the cursor routing keys is our standard Perkins style keyboard with dots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. To the left of dot 3 is your dot 7, which often functions as a space bar, or a backspace. To the right of the dot 6 is the dot 8. This often functions as an enter key. I'm going to flip the display so that we see the right, or the front of the display here. So this is the front of the display. There are 5 buttons, and we're going to go from left to right. So starting on the left is a previous thumb key, and they put some really clever little tactile things on here, which I think are really cute. If you're using the previous thumb key, you can use this key to move up in a menu, and the reason I know that is because it has this little raised line across the top here to give you sort of a tactile cue. The next key over to the right is the previous, or left thumb key. It's the left thumb key. It's used to pan Braille, and it moves to the left as indicated by this raised tactile line here on the left side of the button. The middle button is the home button. You can use that to get to the main menu, and it has a couple of other functions, but that's probably the main one. And that one is round. That kind of serves as sort of a separator as well, because now we're going to go to the next button to the right, and it is the right panning or right thumb key button. And as you can see, maybe you can't, I'm not really sure, but there's that little line, that tactile cue to let you know that it's the right button. It's got that kind of neat little cue. And our final button is our next thumb key, which has a line across the bottom as a tactile cue to let you know that when you're in a menu, you're moving down. Let's go ahead and turn the device so that you're seeing the right edge. This is a little challenging. Here we go. Okay. Moving from the bottom of the device to the top on the right-hand panel is first there's a small hole, and it's the speaker hole. That's where like your sound comes out. So don't think that it's a port. It's not that. We're going to come up, and here are two volume keys, up and down, obviously, respectively. And you have above that a 3.5 millimeter jack for a headset or headphones. I'm going to turn this device now so that you see the left side. Okay, and again, moving from our the area that I'm gonna, if that's the case, I'm gonna just need to flip it. There we go. Moving from the bottom to the top, the first thing that you will see is a USB-A port. So you can plug a thumb drive in here to get content that you need from another source. A little further up, and it's kind of hard, it's kind of blended into the case. So unless you're really looking for it, you might miss it, is a power button. This power button is pretty recessed, but if you peel the case back, you can see it. It's even further recessed, I guess, on the actual unit, but the case, oops, apparently you can accidentally turn it on, and that's what it sounds like when you do that. So I guess it's sort of recessed, so just to let you know that it's there. The next thing you're going to see, and if you can see it great, if you can't, that's fine too, it doesn't matter, is there's a little LED light that lets you know if the unit is either charging or powered on. The final thing that's located furthest away from you on the left side is the charging port. And as we mentioned, this is a USB-C charging port, so you cannot put the cord in the wrong way. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the back of the unit now. And there's really only one thing on the back of this unit. It's a SD card slot. So that's really pretty much all that it's got. If you have the case on though, it has along the bottom of the case are some really nice, oh, it's mad at me because I pressed the button, are some really nice bumper style sort of legs on it. And that makes it just a little quieter on the floor or on the table surface that you're working on. If you were to remove the case, you could see that there's a spot for the battery along the bottom, and in the back there, it's a battery compartment, and it's secured with two Phillips head screwdrivers, so you could open that battery up if you needed to, and I'll just caution you with I wouldn't do that unless you really had to do it. So that's the Chameleon part 1. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you for part 2, where we're going to talk a little bit about the menu structure.